From the KBJR TV studios, you're watching the news at 10 on Northern News Now.
Good evening, I'm Dan Wolf.
And I'm Lauren Lee. Thanks for joining us. More than a decade after a historically high concentrated helium deposit was found outside of Babbitt, drilling has begun.
And Northern News Now's Madison Green did a little digging of her own as she toured the drill site today, finding out what impacts it'll have on the range.
With discovery comes uncertainty. But Michael Skirty with Pulsar Helium, the company extracting the historic helium deposit, says in this case, there is no need to fear the unknown.
The steel mining, typically as you know, they have a giant pit and they're basically digging a pit and they remove a tremendous amount of rock from the surface. For us, what we're basically drilling a hole that ultimately is going to be about this big around.
The drill site is on 1.1 acres of land. The plan is to drill to a depth of 2,600 feet. After 2 days, they reached a depth of 90 feet, which, for comparison, is as tall as the structure behind me.
And the purpose of that surface hole, we'll drill down to about 90 feet, and we put steel casing in the ground, and we cement it back to surface, and that will protect any freshwater aquifers that are in the area.
Throughout every step of this project, Pulsar leaders say they have been trying to minimize environmental impact, but maximize profits. But just how profitable will be determined after testing on the extracted gas to find out how big the deposit is, how much helium is actually in it, and its concentration.
We've been in severe shortages, at least since 2013. The demand is always going to be there, right? If you look at all the industries that we have talked about, right? Semiconductors, aerospace, right? MRIs, I mean, those are growing.
Cliff Kane is the CEO of Edelgas Group, who will advise Pulsar on whether it is financially smart to move on to production. Kane says this deposit means massive growth could occur right on the Iron Range.
So you have helium right here in your backyard, but also attracting, potentially semiconductor manufacturers to coming to Minnesota. Well, everybody would always like to have businesses coming, right, and building and creating jobs, right? And this is one of the critical pathways into doing that.
A critical pathway still in its early stages of discovery. In Babbitt, Madison Green, Northern News Now.
And Pulsar expects to finish drilling by the end of the month and then begin testing on that extracted helium.